show that values time and puts God first. Appreciate everybody for tuning in as always. I know we weren't live a lot last week, had some stuff going on, but we are back. We are ready to go. Let's get it started. It is the start of NFL free agency, and it's one of the most fun times to be doing this kind of stuff. Sports nerds like me, we live for shit like this, right? Like the NFL offseason, the NBA offseason. I know the NFL offseason is bigger because the NFL is bigger, but the reality is I love all off seasons. I love you guys have heard me say this since day one. I love optimism in sports. I love that fan bases, even if we're delusional. And let's start here. This is the best part about the off season in any sport, is that even though we're delusional, and all fans are crazy, fans short for fanatic, all that stuff you've heard it a million times, even if we're all delusional and crazy, it's fun to think your team has a chance. Now, there's a team that I believe this is now its second consecutive offseason where its fans feel like we have a chance, but for two very different reasons. So last year, the Chicago Bears, they draft Caleb Williams, they draft Ramadunze, they bring in Keenan Allen, they re-sign DJ Moore. It's skill position. It's, oh my gosh, we're going to be so explosive on offense. We're going to do this, we're going to do that. We're going to be great. We're going to rewrite every Bears record in existence. Mainly because if you look at most Chicago Bear records, they look like they were all set in 1965. Like, the franchise never had a 4,000-yard passer. This year, and that led to a lot of optimism last year. And that optimism came crashing down. The Bears did not have the season they wanted. Caleb did not have the season they wanted, even though they had all these guys. Again, Allen, Adunze, Moore. Was not the year they wanted. So they fire Matt Eberflus. They now bring in Ben Johnson. And with this offseason, again, Bears fans feel like, again, optimism heading into the season. Will's going to join us later in the show. He's got optimism. Bears fans are now going, well, this time we did it right. Instead of going and getting multiple wide receivers, we're going to go get multiple offensive linemen. We're going to get Jackson from the Rams. We're going to get Delvin from the Falcons. And we're going to get Thuney from the Chiefs. This is how you build a team. Now, I'm not somebody, I've said this very early on in my career of trying to do this. I believe the most important skill you can potentially do is shift the field in terms of either a dominant pass rusher who requires two people to block him or a dominant wide receiver who requires two people to cover him. And that's because when you shift the field, if you then have a competent head coach or OC or DC, you are now playing 10 on 9. And so I don't want to diminish the value of wide receivers, what they can bring to a team. But the Bears clearly saw last year, we went and got a bunch of skill guys, did not work, quarterback was running for his life, this was not sustainable. And so they went and did what you do. Everybody's going to make mistakes. But when you make a mistake, eat it, own it, then fix it as fast as you can. You got to own that you made the mistake. So we're not going after skill guys. We're going after all offensive line, all defensive line. And there's a chance they might even in the draft at 10, Will Campbell, a guy who was starting to slip on some draft boards because of stupid comments and the idea that his measurables are going to matter, not that he was one of the best offensive linemen in college football last year, if not the best. If he falls to you at 10, you've now remade 4 of your 5 offensive line, which was the worst part of your football team last year. So now you've remade your offensive line, which is the thing that made you go, okay, if you still believe Caleb is that guy, so I believe in the quarterback, I'm now going to believe in the head coach. I just have Ben Johnson now who's been hired. If I believe in all these things and my offensive line is going to keep me upright and I still have DJ Moore, I still have Ramadunze another year into the league, I still have Cole Kmet at tight end, I still have the belief that this defense, while they did not play up to what the standard they set 2 years ago after they got Sweat, I believe that defense, that top 10 potential, even maybe top 5 potential is still there. Ate the mistake, you owned it, you fixed it. And again, these are consecutive off seasons that they felt like they fixed it. Or that they were going to run, or they not that they fixed it, but these are consecutive off seasons they felt great going into the regular season. Except last year didn't work, and so they have fixed the mistake, they are now correcting it. And it's easy to see, it's hard to see good to great. It's easy to see bad to good. What do I mean by that? Denver, I'll use an example because I paid the most attention to them. You saw the immediate difference, Nathaniel Hackett to Sean Payton. You saw it immediately. And even if there were skeptics, was Sean Payton still a great head coach, or was he a Drew Brees merchant? But you saw the immediate difference in how he handled things. Nathaniel Hackett gave into his quarterback, his star players, skill positions. Sean Payton came in and said his first two signings, both O-linemen. We're going to get Ben Powers from the Ravens, and we're going to get McGlinchey from the 49ers. And was already starting to overturn. He's like, look, there was something wrong. We're going to acknowledge it was wrong. Then we're going to fix it, and we're going to move on quickly. And that's what the Bears are doing. So the Bears so far have easily, in my opinion, my favorite offseason so far. Again, and it's totally different. You got the same result. You still got people optimistic. You still got people excited. You have your fans excited for this next season. Entirely different reasoning than they were excited for last year. You fixed it. Good job, Chicago. A team who's had a lot more success as of late, even though last season wasn't great for them, is the San Francisco 49ers. Now listen, the 49ers are in a tough spot. The 49ers, who have had one of the best rosters, you guys have heard me talk up and down about them over the last couple years. 6-7 guys who are all pro-level players. You have Trent Williams on the O-line, Kittle, Debo was an all-pro, Ayuk was great. You had Fred Warner, Nick Bosa, Hufanga. Now, because you did not win a Super Bowl, because you ran into 15 in Kansas City multiple times, it is now time to pay your quarterback. And I've said multiple times, I don't know how I would handle Brock Purdy negotiations because I don't really know where I want to put him on the scale. I think Brock Purdy is a good quarterback. Brock Purdy has obviously shown you, when you have the requisite talent, he can get you as far as the Super Bowl, and maybe if he was playing any other quarterback besides 15, he would win you a Super Bowl. But now the Niners started off contract negotiations, said, hey, look, $45 million a year. It's a good number. I would say if you're Purdy, who you've never been able to cash out, and if you're the Niners, that's going to put him 10 to 15 million above like the true like top end quarterback contracts. And that's obviously going to get cheaper year after year. Dak's making 60. So it's going to be a good contract in 2 to 3 years, even if it hurts year one. But then, and now Purdy didn't accept that. And Tony and I were kind of talking about this on group chat earlier this week. He's like, look, if I'm Brock Purdy, I'm not taking 45. I'm just not. I'm telling him, SMD, I've been to a Super Bowl. I have accomplished more than Trevor Lawrence. I have accomplished more than Dak Prescott. I deserve to get paid more than them. And if I was the 49ers, and I've said this multiple times, I would play, am I good enough to go, like, could I make anyone into Brock Purdy? This was the last pick in the draft. This was Mr. Irrelevant. I have a brilliant, in my opinion, brilliant offensive head coach who is going to be here for many, many years in Kyle Shanahan. And I believe that I can draft well enough John Lynch, who's been one of the better GMs in football. This combination is the actual key to our success, not the quarterback. I could replace him. Except now we're getting very telltale signs that I don't think Purdy's signing for 45. I don't think Purdy's going to sign for 50. I think Purdy is going to attempt to be the highest paid quarterback in the National Football League. And I think that's a mistake. I think paying him that amount of money is a mistake. But the reason why I believe this now is a lot more likely that he's going to get to that number versus the 45 they started at is because look at all the moves that they haven't been making. Hufanga, all-pro safety. Signs that, yes, he's been hurt, but signs a really good deal in Denver. 49ers don't want to pay for him. The 49ers feel like we know we have, if you feel like you're about to pay 60 for a quarterback, you're not bringing back Hufanga. Trey Greenlaw also goes and signs with Denver. Got to pay 60 to a quarterback, can't do it. Backup offensive tackle goes to Kansas City. Like, Debo Samuel gets traded. There's now rumors that Brandon Ayuk might be traded. This is how you start peeling those layers. When you pay a quarterback $60 million a year, then the only people you can guarantee to be on your team is him, Trent, Fred Warner, and even Nick Bosa is going to be here in another year. Can we continue to pay him? This is when it becomes a mistake to pay your quarterback, unless they are exactly, in today's NFL, if it's not Mahomes, Allen, Burrow, Lamar, and I know I said Burrow, I've got Burrow below Stafford, but because of age, that in terms of paying a contract top high-end money to, you can't pay $6 million unless it's one of those guys. If it's one of those guys, fine. You just do it. You just make it out. You just figure it out. You make it work. Boom. But to pay Brock Purdy, and I like Brock. I think Brock's a good quarterback. But I also know Brock has been the beneficiary of one of the best rosters in the NFL. Again, at their peak, this was 7, 8 all-pro players. Even their fullback. What do fullbacks make? Does anyone know what a fullback makes? They're releasing him. Everything the 49ers are doing is just screaming, we're going to have to pay a lot of money to this guy, and the people we're going to designate is Warner, Bosa, Ayuk, and Trent you probably hold on to just because of his age. I wouldn't do it again. If I'm the 49ers, I would have told Brock Purdy, you know what? I think you need us way more than we need you. So I'm going to continue with the super team and just let quarterback be quarterback. Does not look like that's the direction the 49ers are going. We'll see how it works out. Kyle Shanahan, I still think is brilliant. We'll see how it works out.